Today, we're going to be reviewing Thunderbolts at long last. I know it took us a little bit to get into it, but we had just finished doing the Minecraft movie stuff, so now we're rolling into Thunderbolts and the other movies that will come soon forth. So, obviously, you know the drill. Thunderbolts is the new MCU movie, and I believe it is the last one of Phase 5. I think so, right? We're entering the transitional point, too, because obviously Avengers Doomsday is coming out next year, and Secret Wars, so like we're rapidly approaching that culmination era again. So Thunderbolts, I think, is a good, necessary setup movie for us, so we will talk all about it in this review. So obviously we got the non-spoilers, we got the spoilers, then we got the merch, which is actually not as meticulous as the Minecraft movie this time. We only have the Thunderbolts Funko Pops, and in terms of theater merch, we have 2 popcorn buckets and 6 cups with their toppers. We're supposed to have one more popcorn bucket for this review, but eBay is slow when it comes to shipping stuff. It's still on its way. I don't even know when. It's probably going to get here like next week or so. But regardless, the point is we can't do it in this episode. We're going to have to review that in a later episode in the future. We'll probably do a popcorn bucket dedicated review with Brandon back. We'll have Brandon review all the popcorn buckets he missed. And then we'll just stick that Thunderbolts bucket that we're waiting on. And then we'll review it in that episode. So, yeah. So, I think this should be a relatively length episode. The Minecraft movie one was like 2 hours long because we just had a lot of stuff to go through. And also, we did 2 episodes, right? So, this time we can keep it condensed into just one singular episode. So, that being said, let's review this movie. Let's do it. So, non-spoiler thoughts. Right off the get-go, this is a really good movie. Like, no joke, no cap. I think it's definitely one of the stronger MCU movies. And the fact that its opening score was 95%, and now it's down to 88%, it dropped a little bit. But the fact that it opened with 95%, we haven't gotten an MCU movie that's been reviewed that high for a while. And it's nice to know that finally we have an MCU movie that's not hot doo-doo. I personally really like this movie. Out of 10, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. There's only like one thing I really wish they would do more of, but I'll explain that later. So, yeah, like, great movie. I highly recommend it. It's integral that you watch this before going into the big Avengers films. You'll understand why after watching it. So, yeah, like the story writing is very good. It's very good. It touches upon the topic of mental health, mental issues, and a lot of people have that in real life. So I guess this movie is very relatable to many who may have mental issues. And yeah, I think the emotion is great. I know a lot of people really liked Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for its emotions, but I am boldly saying that this movie actually had more of an impact emotionally than Guardians of the Galaxy did, at least for me. And the experience was, it's not going to be Minecraft movie. We're not going to see a chicken jockey moment in this film. Like this is back to like regular, mature movie watching, and it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I watched it twice. Like it's that good. So, yeah. I think that's my TED Talk on my non-spoiler TED Talk on the movie.
I agree.
What about you?
I agree.
Everything I just said.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
9 out of 10. Story is good. Character good. Villain good.
Yeah, the villain was gutsy. This is kind of like Suicide Squad in a way.
Yeah.
The concept is similar, where they take these like side characters and put them as a team. The main character of this is probably, I want to say, Yelena. I mean, the trailers show it's not really spoiling. Yeah, so she kind of spearheads the team. She leads. No, actually, Bucky leads the team, but she like is the main character of the plot. So I think you're here like if you're a big fan of Yelena, I'm sure a lot of people are. Like this is a perfect movie for you because this is where I'm boldly gonna say I think I like Yelena here more than Black Widow. Obviously, Black Widow was where she was introduced, but this like I think Florence Pugh did way better on this movie because Black Widow had some memeable moments. You know, like you've seen like the green screen meme, like with Yelena on the horrible green screen background, and then she like
I don't remember.
it's so funny, but like she definitely did a lot better in this movie, that's for sure. As for the other characters, obviously there's, I mean, we're not gonna really, we won't say what happens to them yet, but obviously there's Ghost, there's John Walker. John Walker, obviously, if you watch Falcon Winter Soldier, you understand him. Obviously, with Bucky, the fan favorite, he's been in the MCU for a while. Red Guardian is the comedic guy. He's there for the comic relief. He is funny, but when it is time to lock in for the emotions, David Harbour nails it. Who else am I missing? Taskmaster. She also did great. And Ghost, I think, like, we haven't seen her since Ant-Man the Wasp. Yeah, so it's cool to see her return. And yeah, so like overall the whole team is pretty good. Like the lineup looks pretty good. And I think the movie was able to give each of them time to shine. However, that goes into my one thing that I wish they did better, which I will talk about in a bit. It's kind of related to this. Should we just dive in then? Should we just move on? Okay. Spoiler times.
What was the beginning of the movie?
The beginning was Yelena skydiving off the tower in Malaysia.
Oh yeah, she had like a mission set by
Valentina.
Yeah, that person. To like get something or like kill someone.
Destroy the evidence, I think, for a research project, which is the Sentry Project.
That's actually like the same room as later on in the movie. She successfully does the mission, and then all these characters then are tasked to like go into this vault and do something, but they actually like they're trying to like kill each other because of their mission.
Well, and before that, Yelena goes to find her dad, Red Guardian, in his house. They have like a little like father and daughter moment. At the same time, Mr. Bucky here is now a congressman, and I think the plot is they're trying to impeach Valentina because she's very sus. You know, she's been doing some shady activity, which she is, and the Congress is like, all right, we got it. We got to remove you from power. But to do that, they need to follow their democracy. They need to get the votes to do it. And yeah, I guess I don't know why Bucky became a congressman. Did they ever explain that? Yeah, he went from a terrifying Winter Soldier to now serving in boring Senate hearings. And
also, I found this line funny by one of the congressmen. People was like, "We need to find some juicy evidence."
Oh yeah, no, the main guy who's leading the impeachment. Yeah, he's a good actor. I've seen him from Suits, so I was kind of surprised to see him in this movie. I was like, oh, they didn't show him in the trailers. Like, it's cool to see him join the MCU. That's pretty nice. But that's a small little thing. But what do you think of Yelena skydiving off the second largest building? Because that was done for real. If you saw the behind the scenes video, Florence Pugh actually jumped off that building. So like, what'd you think of it?
Pretty cool stunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think her insurance was freaking out? Like, oh no, she might hurt herself or kill herself doing this. It's a pretty. I like how they went straight to that for the opening. Like, that's the first thing you see, the stunt. And also, they changed the Marvel logo in the opening.
Oh yeah, it was like depressing.
Yeah, it's like depressing, darker, and instead of using clips from the MCU stuff, it's all like comics.
Yeah.
So that's actually pretty cool.
Or is it like all from Century Comics?
Is it
like,
all?
Like from...
Oh, really?
I think
all
so.
of it from Century Comics. Nice. I didn't know that. You learned something new.
I think so.
Okay. So, back to okay, yeah. So congressman happens, blah blah blah. Okay, so what does Yelena go to Red Guardian's house for?
For guidance.
Yeah,
And then it's like his house is all messy.
yeah. His house is all like so messy. He's messy. He brushed his teeth with detergent, with dishwashing soap, and then yeah, I think the scene is just about like Yelena saying she wants to quit. She doesn't want to work for Valentina anymore. I mean, Valentina's a pretty sus person. Like I think it's like valid. But Red Guardian's like, the calling to being a hero. That's there's no greater feeling than that, because obviously he was the Soviet Captain America back then. So like I guess that's his like hero to hero guidance. He's like, oh well, your sister did that. She became an Avenger. Maybe it's time you follow her path or do something similar to it. So after she leaves his house and calls Valentina and says, okay, I have one more job and then I'm done. And then which then leads to the vault. So what happens in the vault? Why was she sent to the vault?
Because Valentina wants everybody there to be dead.
Yep.
And then the temperature rises, and like they have to try to get out.
So Valentina's basically, she's twisting she's twisting the lies a little bit. She's like basically she tells you like, oh, there's a fugitive there trying to steal my stuff, which is Ghost, and then she kind of twists that narrative to the other guys, saying, oh, well, this person's stealing my stuff. Go take care of it, and that's with the intention of having them wipe each other out. So they go into the vault, and Yelena meets. Well, she first fights John Walker. How do you think that fight went?
Evenly matched.
Evenly matched. I mean, if you watch, I'm hoping people going into this movie have seen Falcon and Winter Soldier, because then they'll look at John Walker and go, "Who is this guy? This is this ripoff Captain America." He's obviously his U.S. agent is his like superhero name, and then Taskmaster comes in her target was John Walker. And the thing is, let's talk about Taskmaster. let's talk about Taskmaster for a little bit. So, Taskmaster in the MCU is not comic accurate, right? So, what is Taskmaster supposed to be?
In the comics, it's a guy, and Taskmaster copies different superheroes' abilities.
So in short, he should have been a lot more OP.
Yeah, a lot more OP.
So she was heavily nerfed. And Black Widow, have you even seen Black Widow?
Yeah, but I forgot all.
Okay, so she was actually like she was powerful, but her story was so rushed. They rushed her plot, how she got to be Taskmaster. And then the ending was just kind of weird. Like you just end up Natasha letting her go. Like, you're free. Go do your own thing. You're a free person now. Which then leads to Thunderbolts. Apparently, she also works for Valentina now. So she comes in, tries to fight John Walker. And I want to say, because you said she's supposed to be a lot more OP in the comics, John Walker just owns her. He just beats her easily in hand-to-hand combat. And why couldn't she just copy John Walker's fighting style and just...
Yeah, probably.
John Walker should not have beaten her that easily. That's what I'm saying. And then in comes Ghost. And then I think obviously Ghost is like really the only one in that room with actual powers. Everyone else is just punching and kicking and shooting. Who was Ghost supposed to... Was she also supposed to kill John Walker? No, she was supposed to kill Taskmaster.
Yeah.
She succeeds in the end. So they fight each other, and then Taskmaster is like, oh, John Walker is distracted. I can take him out. Takes out her sword, walks over to him. Before she can land the hit, Ghost zips in front of her. Bam! Shot to the forehead, to the skull. She's dead. And just like that, Taskmaster is killed off. So what do you think of that? Was that a good decision?
Well, I guess like because the character wasn't really doing anything. Also, it was pretty early in the movie, so I probably think yeah, she was killed off pretty early.
I mean, going into this movie prior to watching it, I asked you what are your predictions. You're like, someone's dying.
Yeah.
Were you guessing it was gonna be Taskmaster? Yeah. Well, because like they actually tried to hide it. You know the shot when you see the whole team facing Valentina?
Yeah.
In the trailers, they stitched Taskmaster in there. You could see Taskmaster in that shot in the trailers. Obviously, in the actual movie, she's not. So they tried to hide the fact that Taskmaster was going to get killed off. But then as the later trailers came out, you can see some of those shots of like, she's quite absent in the shot. So you kind of get the feeling, yeah, she's not surviving this movie. So Taskmaster is killed off. But then you thought that was going to be it. But no. John and Ghost proceeds to loot her. They were like taking her loot, taking her weapons and stuff. And they actually try to explain it a little bit, right? Like they actually try to explain, like talk a little bit about Taskmaster. Like,
don't remember that part.
Okay, so eventually Yelena and everyone else figures out, okay, though this is a setup for Valentina to get us to eliminate each other. Then they said, okay, we gotta work together to get out of this vault. Turns out the vault is designed to keep them in. There was a counter for Ghost. She had the sound thing. So she couldn't just phase out of the place. And then John Walker kind of goes on like a little... He kind of goes on this little explanation like, wow, look at you, Ghost, the infamous SHIELD agent testing the lab. That dead one over there, oh, she ruined half of Budapest. Oh, and you, God only knows the blood. And then they kind of have this like exchange where they trash talk each other. They trash talk each other. And they call John the dime store Captain America. And then did they call him out for his like public execution of that guy? So there's that. And then what? And then meanwhile, what's going on in the Congress? There's like a little party. What's happening there?
They're like showing off like alien tech from the first Avengers movie.
Yep. I think Loki's scepter was on there.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think Bucky talks to like the other guy.
Say, I found we gotta like team up or something to
Yeah.
take out Valentino.
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, just let the system do its thing. And then Bucky's like, nah, like this ain't it. Diplomacy ain't it. And then, oh yeah, and then Valentina's assistant is telling her, oh, well, your guests are in the housewarming party. And so she's like, all right, sick, torched them, killed them all. But turns out, like an actual oven, it takes time for a flamethrower to heat up, giving the team time to break out. How do they eventually break out?
There's some like electronics, and then like John Walker just like punches it, and then
It disables the sound barrier, so Ghost can...
go out.
Yep.
And activate the door or open the door.
But there was this one moment where it seemed like Ghost abandoned them, just ditched them, because it was taking a while. And you can see, like, John going like, I should have seen this coming. You can see Yelena, like, closing her eyes, like she's about to, like... She's ready to die. Now you can tell she's like, oh, this is it. Like, this is where it ends. The last minute, the door opens, they burst out, flames go off, Taskmaster's body is now burnt into a crisp, into an ash, and all other evidence is gone. Then they get out.
Yelena got some Sentry documents.
Oh, we missed a very important thing. While these guys were fighting in a vault, Bob comes out. Bob gets released from his death box. And so, what was the first interactions between them and Bob?
I was like, who are you? My name's Bob.
Yeah. And they're like, how'd you get in here?
He's like, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. So yeah, Bob helps. Bob obviously escapes with them. But then the impact of the flamethrower sends an explosion. They all go flat. Yelena gets knocked out for a second. which then cuts into her like memory flashback thing. Which what was that scene?
Well, I think it's because Bob was touching hands with Elena, and that's how
So
his
what happened in that
superpower
scene?
thing. That she was in a forest, and then some other person from the Red Room was like talking to her, and then like some guy kills.
I think it was like a test.
Oh yeah, a test.
Get her kill your best friend. Apparently that's one of the tests. Your childhood friend. And then yeah, she's like, damn, not this again. And then you see Bob all of a sudden, it just quickly cuts to Bob. He just appears out of nowhere in there. And then they wake up. John is kind of like aggressive towards Bob for some reason. And then he keeps calling him Bobby, which we hear which we now know later on in the movie why that was an uncomfortable name for Bob to hear because of his abusive dad. And then they figure they're like by the elevators. They're like, great. Now how do we get out? And then, oh no, before that, no. John was being aggressive to Bob, and then Elena pulls him she separates the tension, pulls him aside, has like a small conversation with Bob. What was the conversation? What was she talking to him about?
Something about like something. Is something bothering you, or are you okay, or whatever?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Or like, like just shove it down or something. Something like that. I don't know. And then after that, they figure out what John breaks the elevator doors. He's like, sick. Okay, let's pause here. John's like, sick. We found a way out. Let's get out of here. They get to the elevator, but the elevator is fried. So they're like, great. How can we get out of here? None of us fly? Do we all just punch and shoot? And then John's like, well, Ghost, how about you phase up? She's like, well, how do I phase up? Like, that's not physically possible. So John's like, all right, I got it. And then there's this funny scene. He does his like Super Mario jump. And then he just goes tumbling back down. That was actually kind of funny. That's probably the super soldier serum working, right? Because like no human is like possibly able to jump that high. What'd you think of that?
Funny.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
You think he would have broken his back if he didn't have the serum?
Yeah.
And then they're like, great, how do we get out of here? Bob is like, I have an idea. What was the idea?
They would go back to back and their legs would
Spider their way up. Yeah, spider crawl their way up. And yeah, that's another like bunch of comedic moments happen there. It's like, which one of you is sweating? It's like, well, like, I'm sorry. And then Bob's like, oh, I'm not good of heights. And then it cuts back to Valentina and her assistant, Mel, I think that's her name, in a limo, which, surprise, surprise, the limo is being driven by Red Guardian. And Valentina's like, well, what? Are they dead? And Mel's like, no. Well, they're working together. She's like, no, they're like the worst people ever. Wow, they work together. And she's like, no, they're actually working together. And she shows her the footage. She's like, wait, who's that guy? Is that Bob? How did he get in here? And apparently they learn, oh, Bob is part of the Sentry Project. She's like, okay, wait, we got to figure this out. And as she's like, okay, well, they survive. We got to get the soldiers ready because we got to take them out. They go there. But then they should have checked who their driver was because the driver was obviously Red Guardian. He overhears them. He's like, oh, shoot, they're going to kill my daughter. I got to go get her.
I think the first one to go out of the elevator was John Walker.
Yes. They were like nearing the top, but Bob is like about to sneeze. So he's yelling cucumber, which apparently, at first they were like, what? That's so silly. But then he was actually going to start sneezing. So Yelena and Ghost were like, cucumber, cucumber, trying to like help him out. John's like, give me one of your batons so I can like reach the top and get us out of here. But they're all like, no, the rest of us are going to fall. Like the second one was let's go. And then And he eventually does it. He just grabs her baton. They all go tumbling for a second. But eventually they catch each other. Yelena catches Bob with the grappler. And then Bob gets a sneeze out as he's dangling. And then they pull it out, but Ghost is like, man, you could have gotten us killed. And John's like, well, you're alive. Like, I have to make a decision to save all of us. And then they get to the top, the maze section, as you say. But as they open the door, they realize there's a whole garrison of soldiers gathering outside.
They like split up, and
what was their plan?
Half of them would like, I think, fight the soldiers, and the other half would do something with the system or whatever.
And then what it goes to?
Forgot.
She went out to find a ride out. But before that, they had a little argument. They had their pointless childhood stories show off. They were just for some reason just rambling their childhood stories. Because John's like, I should take charge, and they're like, why are you taking charge? And he's like, well, I shook hands with the two presidents. I risk it, and they're like just, So there was arguments there. Meanwhile, Bucky is back in his apartment reading through the files of the impeachment, and then he spills tomato sauce on himself, so he puts his vibranium arm in the dishwasher. That's actually an efficient way to get it clean. Fair play. While he's doing that, Mel calls him.
The person she's working for is sus.
The Valentina is sus. Yeah, you gotta do something about it. And then, did they explain how Bucky went to find Yelena and the other people?
Yeah, he was chasing the limo.
That's right. Okay. So he went. Okay. So yeah. So he sets off to go find the others, and then Yelena and Bob, they try to fry the power, but the explosion already did it, so they couldn't turn off the lights or do anything. So John's like, screw it, I'll fight them myself. He fights them, but he it looks like he disappeared for a bit, and obviously Valentina's like, let's do non-lethal because Bob is in there. I need Bob alive. So the soldiers go in with gas and gas masks, and then they fight. Yelena fights. Bob is like, I don't know what I'm doing. She gives him a rifle. He kind of doesn't know how to use it. So chaotic fight. They didn't kill, but they defeat the soldiers. And then John comes back. Bob is unloading the rifle on John. And John's like, stop, it's me. And then so they regroup. Oh, how did they get it? Oh, that's right. They put on the soldiers' armor. They pretended to be, escorting a wounded soldier out. So they were able to just slip by everyone else, and then they see Valentina. Okay, yeah, clearly Valentina is trying to kill us. And then Ava shows up with the truck.
They go through, and then some other soldiers ask them some questions, and then they didn't really know how to answer them.
It's show us your face, and John just straight up says, no. Okay. And then that's when Bob decides to sacrifice himself so they could escape.
He just goes out, and then they start shooting at him, right?
Yeah, they shoot at him, but turns out he doesn't die from it. Yeah. At first, Valentina is super pissed that they shot at him, but he comes back he stands back up. His clothes are all ripped, and then what happens?
He just goes up in the air.
He becomes Superman.
Yeah, and then he loses his powers, and then goes back down.
Tumbles back down, which creates a huge impact. Knocks out the soldiers. Even knocks out, their truck. They go flying off the road. So then they have to walk. And then as they were getting out of the crash site, a ghost asks Yelena, hey, that person I just brutally murdered back in the vault, what was her backstory? And then they talk about Taskmaster briefly. It was a very brief conversation. They talk about it. And then John's like, well, at least you guys know what you're doing. He's like, well, you have a wife and kid. What they didn't know is that John's wife left him and took his kid. Oh, in the elevator, when they get out, John touches hands with Bob, and then John gets his own flashback scene. What was that scene?
He was on his phone taking care of the kid, and then his wife gets angry at him. It's like, oh, you're not taking care of the kid properly.
Yep. And so that's another fight there. Which actually, did you know that scene? I watched the director explain it. John actually considered jumping off the elevator to kill himself, to like suicide, after experiencing that flashback scene. But then Yelena's like, "What are you doing? Come on, let's go." So he considered killing himself, but he didn't. Oh yeah, also Yelena gives them the files, the Sentry files she found. They like take a look at it. After the soldiers pick up Bob's knocked out body in a helicopter. Like the helicopter takes him away. It's now daytime. It's like morning now. And then the Thunderbolts, or the three of them, they're walking, and who do they see?
The Red Guardian in his limo.
In his limo. Very, very excitingly, like, bulldozing towards them. Red Guardian gets out, like a proud dad will react. He's like, Yelena! it's So, like, that's... You think that was good? Like, a good depiction of, like, a chaotic, embarrassing dad who's, like, really excited to see his daughter.
It's like, where should we go or whatever, I think. And then I think the conversation was cut short because there were, like, trucks behind them.
Yep. Red Guardian was kind of like, what did he say to John? He's like, oh, you and I are the same. We were, like, second choices for Captain America or something.
I think he said that to Bucky or whatever. Did he?
No, he said it to John.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, oh, Ghost, it's so nice to meet you. And he's like, Yelena, I didn't know you had these friends. And then they're like, oh, you guys work so well as a team. And he's like, yay. John's like, yay, go Thunderbolts. He's like, really? That's the team name? You named it after your football team? And then her football team was called Thunderbolts, which was sponsored by some tire company. Yelena was the goalie, right? She was the goalie, but they didn't win a single game. The conversation was then cut short by a convoy of SUVs, military SUVs, chasing them. So
the limo can only go up to like 50.
Yep. Very slow vehicle.
Yeah. He was like pressing all the buttons and like music started playing, and then it wasn't for like any
Red Guardian says this vehicle is bulletproof, but as soon as they start shooting, the windows immediately shatter. And John's like, what happened to bulletproof? And he puts up his shield to like protect Ghost and like from getting hit. Ghost, and she's like, oh, I'm gonna like take care of them. She phases out of the car, but the second she does that, they like shoot the sound thing at her. So she's nerfed. So John has to pull her back in the car. Red Guardian tries to do this thing where he like lights a bottle of vodka on fire and throw it at them, which looked like it worked for a second, and then it immediately like the fire immediately goes out, so that didn't work. And then Yelena's like, screw it, I'll deal with this. She pops out of the window, prepares to shoot the tire, which she does, but apparently the whole vehicle exploded when she shot it. She's like, what? That was not me. And then, as you said, Bucky shows up. You think that was a cool entrance scene? Because Bucky finally has his own theme song, his own like soundtrack.
Oh, I didn't notice.
What do you think of that? Like his superhero entrance. He's no longer the villain, the Winter Soldier. He's now like he is an actual hero.
Cool.
All right. So how does he deal with the cars? Because he was very Terminator like dealing with the cars. How does he do it?
He's on his motorcycle. He like reloads like a Terminator, and then he just shoots all the drivers in the vehicle, and they all explode.
And he flips the final vehicle by like using his metal arm to like
put it in the ground.
Yeah, put it in the ground and then pull the. That's a pretty cool scene. But then they're like, "Yay, Bucky, let's go!" And then he turns around and shoots the limo with an explosive. And Yelena should have died from that. If you saw how the limo flipped, it like went front side up and went upside down. Yelena and Red Guardian should have died from that. Like they'd be squashed like a pancake. So then what? So then Bob gets dropped off at the re-established Avengers Tower, which turns out Valentina bought it. It's now just called a Watchtower. And they're still setting up in there, it turns out. And then she she goes in to meet Bob. What was that scene like?
It was Valentina's turn for the flashback thing.
Yeah. What was that flashback?
It was like witnessing her father being shot.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they had like a therapy session, I guess.
And she's basically telling Bob, like, you have potential. I see you have powers. I want you to be a superhero. Pretty much. That was like the lines of that conversation. And then she talks to Mel, saying that, oh, do we have a kill switch? He's like, well, we got rid of that. She's like, well, then make it again. Like, make that kill switch again. And then that's when Mel is like starting to like really doubt where she's standing. And then it cuts back to this broken down old gas station where Bucky has the other four tied up.
Eventually, like, unties them.
Because Mel calls him. She's like, you gotta stop Val. Or you gotta stop Valentina. She's like, she's out of control. Bring everyone you can. He's like, all right, sick. So he unties. Did you notice he had specific handcuffs for Ghost? So she couldn't phase out of it. Yep. And then did you also notice he tied the ropes on John extra tighter compared to the rest, just because of their history and Falcon and Winter Soldier. And then that's when Bucky reveals to John reveals to everyone what John has been hiding from everyone, is that his wife left him with his kid for a divorce. So that there's a sad story there. And eventually Bucky's like, all right, you're coming with me. We're working together. We're taking out Val. Red Guardian does this iconic thing, which I use a lot in the group chat. Yeah. And so then what happens after that? I'm trying to remember. Oh, was that when Valentina is like testing, or no, Bob is testing his powers
with the glass.
Yeah. He's like, damn, you can do it. All right, let's put you in the suit. And then it cuts to the streets of New York where Bucky is driving a old white truck. Red Guardian's in the passenger seat with him. John, Yelena, and Ghost are chilling in the back. They're kind of flexing off their pistols. And then what about the hat? He's like, oh, the hat, it's cool. It does cool things. And then it goes to Bucky and Red Guardian having a conversation. What was their conversation like?
It's like, we both are similar.
Or like, what kind of serum did you take? He's like, oh, I don't know, like Hydra, I think. He's like, oh, yeah, mine's Soviet based. And they're like, oh, what's the plan? He's like, huh? What plan? And then it cuts to them just full speeding the truck into the building, crashing through the entrance. And then how does that fight play out?
They like beat up the soldiers, and then they all go in the elevator.
Because Valentina puts them calls them a PA. She's like, guys, I left the door open. Why? It's no point. Just come up. You don't have to fight. Which is funny, but at least we got to see a cool like fight montage. Did you notice how Red Guardian pops out of the truck? He's like, I like this plan. And he full throttles him, but everyone else kind of like is strategic with leaving the truck. Yelena goes from the back through the front to come out, so like to catch the soldiers off guard. That's like choreography details that I like. That's pretty cool. So they go in that elevator. I think that's the shot. They showed it off at like Disney at first, like the Disney event, like many months ago. That was the one scene where the elevator opens and you can see the whole team in there.
With Taskmaster
in the shot. And then they exit the elevator, and then they confront Valentina. So what happens in that scene as they confront her? They surround her.
It's like, oh, this is like the place where Iron Man. Did she mention that, or I don't know?
Yeah, that was the same room where Iron Man and Loki fought or squared off.
And then Bob shows up with his new suit.
Did you know they did that? They didn't show in the trailers. They completely hid Bob's like the Sentry suit. All they showed was his void form, because that's like a silhouette, it's like a shadow. So that was the first time all of us was seeing the Sentry suit. Like that, they did that well, but they didn't hide Taskmaster's death pretty well. So like, like I don't know what to say to that, but it's pretty. I think it's good. Do you think that was good? They did not show Sentry's suit at all until the action movie.
Yeah, it's good. Good surprise.
Yeah, it's a good surprise. So, yeah, so they come out. So, before Sentry comes out, Valentina is kind of like making fun of John again. She calls him like the junior varsity Captain America or something. And John literally was about to pull out his pistol and shoot her point blank, but Bucky stops him. And as Bucky was about to like arrest Valentina, that's when Sentry shows up. What do you think of the Sentry suit? It is, I think it's comic accurate.
Yeah, the colors are there, but I think there's a conversation about the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I like some people the hair color or whatever.
I think Louis Pullman said that was a wig. They didn't actually dye his hair for that. He just wore a wig over it because it's obviously a lot of work to color your hair. So, yeah, it's a good suit. I think I dig it. So that Sentry has 3 personalities, right? Bob, Sentry, and the Void. So that scene he was in Sentry form. And then Valentina's telling him, all right, your first task is to take out these rogue agents as she's painting the picture. So because she's saying the press is coming, so to get a story, she's going to introduce Sentry as like the new superhero. And, you know, he's great because he just killed all these like rogue agents. And so the Thunderbolts are like, okay, well, we gotta fight. We gotta stop him. Yelena's like, no, don't do this. You can trust me. But Sentry's like, well, I'm not Bob. I'm the Sentry. and then that's when diplomacy stops. Red Guardian's like, enough talking. And he goes, oh, we are the Thunderbolts. And then he makes the first strike. He attacks Sentry, and the whole fight scene begins. The Thunderbolts versus Sentry. How does that scene play out?
Sentry obviously wins. Yep. He beats everybody up.
He looked bored in that fight. He kind of just, yeah. So I think it's a pretty cool fight scene. I mean, I don't know. At least that's what I think. What do you think of it? That fight.
Was it like there's like this one shot that happened? It was really
long continuous shot. Yeah, where he sends Red Guardian flying out the window and sends him back in. He grabs John Walker's shield and folds it like a taco, which he still hasn't fixed. I find it kind of funny. And then Bucky shoots at him, but he stops the bullets with the Force, and then sends it back at him. But John jumps in front of him in time to like block him with his shield. And then how does he counter Ghost? He just knows where she's going, and just grabs her out of the thing. And then he basically Sentry's just exercising 1% of his power, and he's still able to beat all the Thunderbolts. Is that a surprise? No, because isn't he supposed to be a lot more OP?
Yeah, it's like comparable to Superman.
Yeah. So the Thunderbolts all get defeated, and then Yelena tries to tase him. He throws her. Oh, instead of throwing her off the shoulder, he like shoves her into the ceiling, and then chucks her aside. Eventually, everyone's knocked out. Bucky is the last one standing.
He fights Bucky, and then he tears off his vibranium arm, and because it was like, and also it was like melting a bit.
Can Sentry melt vibranium in the comics?
I don't know.
Because like he just took off his arm with such ease. Yeah, so he took off Bucky's arm, smacks him with. It's kind of funny. Bucky kind of just takes off his jacket to like. He really thinks he's gonna do something. He's gonna like land. He's gonna try to like punch Sentry to death. But Sentry's like, nah. Eventually, the Thunderbolts realize they cannot defeat Sentry, so they make a run for it. They pick up a disarmed Bucky. Ghost kind of scrambles to get his arm back, and then you see they just make a run for it into the elevator. And then Valentina tells Sentry, "Well, time to finish them off. And he's like, why? They're not a threat. Why do I need to finish them off? And she's like, well, you gotta do what I tell you to do. But then he's like, do I? And the Thunderbolts leave the tower back on the streets. They feel defeated. Red Guardian's insistent to like regroup and like get back in there to fight, but everyone's basically given up. John's like, look, he's too OP. He turned my shield into a taco. Like, what chance do we have? And what happens then? Like, Yelena crashes out. Well, before that, she crashes out and basically trash talks everyone. Like Ava, you're a horrible person. John, you're a horrible person. Your wife knows you're a horrible person. He's like, good God, you're brutal. And then I was like, oh, you, and she to Red Guardian, she's like, oh, like, you're not a good dad. You didn't talk to me for a year and so forth. And they like separate for a bit. So what was the scene between Yelena and Red Guardian? Like they had like their father-daughter moment there. What was that scene about?
Just like, I think like you're a hero or something, something like that.
You're like, don't let your past mistakes hold on to you, and like do something like that. And then meanwhile, back up in the tower, what happens to Sentry? He's like turning on Valentina.
And then her assistant shoots Sentry with a taser.
Oh no, she uses the kill switch they made. She activates it and he just dies. Sentry just dies, but then the Void takes over and he turns into the Void form. So they leave the tower, and then back on the street, I think after Yelena and Red Guardian have their talk, suddenly there's commotion. They look up in the sky. What's in the sky?
It's the Void.
It's the Void. And what happens then? How does the Void start wreaking havoc on New York?
Just points his hand. Someone turns into a shadow.
Yep. What about the helicopters that try to shoot him?
Yeah, so the pilots turn to a shadow, and then like the helicopter goes down into a crane, and then the crane crashes into a skyscraper.
Man, it must suck living in New York in the MCU. There's always something happening there. First, the Avengers incidents. Then you have Kingpin becoming the mayor. If you watch Daredevil Born Again, it's just vigilantes and crime all over New York. And then literally not even a week after the finale, Sentry comes out and turns the whole city into a shadow. And then in July, we'll have the Fantastic Four fighting Galactus in New York. New York can't catch a break. Like, imagine the property taxes and living there is gonna suck. The tax is gonna be so high, and you're always risking your life there because there's so much like dangerous stuff happening. But anyways, going back to this movie, Void is wreaking havoc. There's debris falling off the buildings. The Thunderbolts hop into action.
They like try to rescue as much civilians as they can.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go into a like somewhere that's covered to like save themselves from going into the Void.
There's a moment where a big piece of concrete was about to crush this lady, but John comes in and like stops it, and then the rest of the team shows up to like help them flip it over. And then as they do that, the public sees them doing that, and they have like are these our new superheroes? Like they like applaud the Thunderbolts, and then Red Guardian saves his little girl from getting crushed from debris. He's like, "You're okay, little one," but immediately she turns into a shadow. Now, if you watch the pirated version of this movie, if you go on like some illegal website, watch the pirated version, you'll hear someone laughing at that moment. When that little girl turns into a shadow, you hear someone in the back going, "Oh my God!" and like it starts like laughing. It's like, God, people are evil sometimes. That was supposed to be a dark scene. The first time I watched it, obviously you weren't there, but the first time I watched it, the person beside me jumped. Like he was like, when she turned into a shadow, he was like, "Oh God!" It was so funny. So yeah, Void comes down. He's just upping his KD ratio, spamming everyone, turning to a shadow. Actually, it would be pretty funny let me talk about Marvel Rivals for a second. If Sentry was a character in Rivals, I think that's one of his abilities, turning you into shadows. But his ult should be he puts you in a flashback scene where you relive all the games you lost, all the horrible games you lost, just to relive the trauma. That would be pretty funny. Anyways, I don't know. I just thought of that as we were watching the movie, but yeah. So yeah, the Thunderbolts, they rush to a cover, building to cover. Then what happens? But Yelena doesn't run to the cover. What does she do?
And it goes into the void to try to talk with Bob.
Do you think she knew she would survive that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so you think that's why she did it. But obviously Red Guardian didn't know that, being the dad, obviously he was like emotionally distraught cuz in his perspective, he lost not only another daughter but his last daughter, cuz obviously his first daughter, Black Widow, she's dead. So, obviously for him it was like so traumatized. I think, like I said, when the movie needs to be emotional, it gets emotional and you can feel it. And David Harbour was so good at that. Like, he was being comedic throughout the whole movie until that point. He's like screaming. He's like, no, Yelena. Like that. When he needs to lock in to be emotional, he locks in. So David Harbour is honestly a great actor for that. Also, why is David Harbour always losing his daughters? In Stranger Things, he loses 11. Like, he's always losing his daughters in his movies. But anyways, so yeah, it now we cut to Yelena in the void. How does that whole sequence play out? What happens there?
She revisits I think the scene in like Black Widow or whatever.
Her childhood friend Test, like getting killed Test.
Yeah, also like her drunk.
Yep, drunk self. Oh, there was also one where she was in like the pistol reloading thing, and then I guess in the red room is if you get first place, you're fine. Everyone else gets a hand beating. So they do that, and then in that drunk bathroom, after encountering her drunk self, she sees Bob chilling in a room in the mirror. How does she get to him in that room?
Goes through the mirror, or breaks the mirror,
and then finds Bob in that room. So, what is that scene then between her and Bob in there?
Just, I think, trying to get away, try to find a way out.
Well, she talks with him first about like you got to stop this. He's like, well, that's not me. It's the void doing it. And then that's when she learns about his childhood. Why did Bob go into drugs? Why was he such a meth addict? Because his parents, well, his dad was an abusive dad. Always abusing his mom, and then when he tries to stand up for his mom, she tells Bob, "Oh, you always make it worse." So that topic of abusive parents can really shape mental issues. So I think that movie does really well explaining that. But I think for people who might actually have abusive parents in real life, this might be traumatizing for them. So this movie's kind of walking a fine line for there. But yeah, so she learns that, and actually that's why Bob didn't really like John, because John always called him Bobby, and that's what his abusive dad would always call him. So I think eventually John realized that after having also gone in the void. So that's when John stood up for Bob. So it's a cool minor character development there. So eventually Yelena convinces Bob to like, all right, we can get out of here. We can fight the void. He's like, sure. And then the room turns alive and tries to capture them. But then turns out the rest of the team is here. They rescue them. And then what happens there?
They kind of like fight the room, and then Red Guardian's like just ripping a pillow.
Yep. But as they were, Bucky's like, oh yeah. Yelena's like, is everyone okay? Like, because obviously she knows what they have to go through. And Bucky's like, oh yeah, I have a great past. Don't worry. And that's when they proceed to leave the rooms. At first they're like, how do we get out? Well, Yelena tells Bob, well, show us. You say this room was your best room. Then show us your worst room. That's probably our way out. So they do that. They go to the worst room, which is where Bob's parents were fighting. And then John, I like this detail. John is the one to knock out the dad. Because John was the one who was bullying Bob the whole movie, but he was the one who stands up for him in the end and knocks out the dad. So that's a cool attention to character development. Then it gets to one of the funniest scenes in the whole movie. They fight Bob, dressed up in a chicken outfit with a sign because Bob was on meth in that scene. So what do you think of that? Them fighting a chicken. The guy dressed up in a chicken.
Funny. Yeah.
And he's holding this big sign, and then Bucky is the one who knocks. I find it so funny. Like Bucky, you know, when Bucky was a Winter Soldier, he was terrifying, right? Then in this movie, you just have him knocking out a guy in a chicken suit with his metal arm. And Bob says one of like the more. Hey, so Disney has a lot of iconic lines like Hakuna Matata and so forth. I think this is going to be up there in one of the new iconic lines. I was on meth. Bob goes, I was on meth. Like, that was I don't know, that line, at least to me, seemed like it was going to be a memeable line. Then the final room they get in. What is that scene? As you said, that was the same room Yelena was in the beginning of the movie.
There's like another version of himself.
I think that's the Void.
Yeah, the Void. The Void like gets some like junk and tries to trap the rest of the Thunderbolts. And then Bob starts beating up the Void.
1v1. Bob fighting himself.
And then Yelena tries to stop him.
So I think the point of that scene was to show, like, if you give in to hating on your trauma, you would only become it. So, like, the Void wants Bob to kill him, so the Void can overtake Bob. Yelena sees that, and everyone else sees it. Bucky says, like, this is not right. Like, they can see that this is not right. So Yelena frees herself to stop him. It's a pretty cool sequence. She's, like, jumping through the room full of debris flying at her. And it's so simple. Like, the way they solve it, she, like, just holds him and she says, I'm here. You know, I'm here for you. You're not alone. Like, it's such a basic concept, you know, just giving someone a hug, saying that you're here for them. I think that was probably like the most like emotionally impactful part of the movie. Because I think Lewis Pullman did a really good job acting. Like, in that way you can see he's like holding back his punches, but he's like crying, like, damn, like, good act. That was a really good, solid acting. Also, I've seen the memes that came out of this scene is like, so all I need to cure my depression is a 5'3" blondie hugging me. So it's like, yeah, I guess. And eventually the rest of the team frees themselves, and then they all go over to Bob to give him the big group hug, and they pull him out of the void, literally and figuratively. Pull him out of the void, and then they successfully free him from the dark side, and then the shadow evaporates away from New York. So then what happens? Oh yeah, by the way, all people that were vaporized, they come back, including the little girl. Just to show you, I'm pretty sure Disney wouldn't allow a child getting killed in that movie. So everyone's safe. Yay, the day's saved. Bob was back to his normal self. And then Valentina's back on the scene. She's like, and then the Thunderbolts are like, oh, Red Guardian's like, I'm a killer. And Bucky's like, no, we gotta arrest her. We gotta take her in alive. But as they were following her, they get behind this wall. Suddenly, on the other side of the wall, there's a bunch of press. There's a bunch of reporters.
Welcome, here's the new Avengers.
So that's why there's an asterisk at the end of the Thunderbolts. Because it's a temporary title. Then the actual title is the new Avengers. So what do you think of that?
I don't know. It's like another title for the group. Yeah.
Do you think they should have gone with the Dark Avengers? Because in the comics, that's one of their names.
I don't know. I don't know too much about that.
Okay, so the New Avengers is fine.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why did Marvel go? Marvel was so quick with advertising the name change. Literally like 2 days after the movie dropped, all their social media posts is just the New Avengers is now showing in theaters. Like they take the posters, they rip down the Thunderbolts posters and then put up the New Avengers posters. Like they're already spoiling their own film. Not everyone's gonna be able to watch the movie in 2 days. It was so funny. There was a video of Sebastian Stan going around LA taking down the Thunderbolts posters and putting up the New Avengers posters. So like I get it, it's a genius marketing move, but you're doing it way too quickly. And you gotta give people time to watch the movie and then do the name swap. So the Thunderbolts are the New Avengers. I like how like in that moment as everyone's applauding, all the Thunderbolts were like, huh? What just happened? But then you get Bob on the side going like, he was like so happy. He was like just like a proud dad of the group or something. And then that's when the movie ends. Do you think? Did you notice, like, in like the credits, there's a lot of news articles about people like this name change being controversial. Do you think this was a good move by Marvel to name these guys the New Avengers?
It's not the Avengers. It's like another group.
So yeah, and then this movie had 2 post-credit scenes. So what's the first post-credit scene?
It was Red Guardian in a grocery store trying to sell some other person his cereal.
The Wheaties box with them on it, which you can actually get in real life, but we can't. It's a US only thing. It's like a limited stock. There's only like 2,000 of them. So here, editor put up an image of that. Yeah, I think that's a funny marketing. Again, another marketing tactic. You just have David Harper going like, that's my face on there. But the lady was not having any of it. She ended up putting the cereal back and just walked off. And then this is a very, very important post-credit scene. We haven't had a post-credit scene that actually goes somewhere. That actually has points, that actually sets up the next direction. What is this post-credit scene? Because it's the longest post-credit scene. It's 3 minutes long. And it was filmed by a different director. What was the scene about?
They're in like this new building. All their outfits changed. Especially the US agent doesn't have his helmet anymore.
Yep. His shield is still bent like a taco. That was pretty funny. And it's 14 months later.
Oh yeah, also the A in the Avengers changed.
Yep. Bucky has a completely fresh new look. Everyone does, actually. What about Red Guardian?
Oh, he's just wearing some like advertisement, his tracksuit.
Yep. So that scene was actually about Sam Wilson not liking that they're called the New Avengers, because he's building the Avengers, he's rebuilding the Avengers, and all of a sudden you just have these guys call themselves the New Avengers. So Sam is filing for copyright against them. And so I guess maybe Bucky and Sam fall out. They might have another civil war of their own. They like a disagreement or something. That has not been explained. What was Red Guardian's solution to the copyright?
I think just wearing the... I forgot. Yeah.
Instead, he swapped the S to a Z. Avengers. Like that. That's how we counter the copyright. But before they could discuss it any further, a device goes off. What happens then?
Some ship from another dimension comes in, and then they all see the ship, and there's like a big four.
So what is that ship?
From the Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. Do you think that post-credit scene basically spoiled how Fantastic Four is going to end?
Yeah, a bit. Their universe is gonna be destroyed
by Galactus, and then they flee to the MCU, the main MCU universe. I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty much. I think it's not confirmed because obviously we just see the ship. The Fantastic Four doesn't have to be in the ship. We don't know that. We just see the ship. It could be something else. But that's like the assumption that, oh, okay, well, they lost. Galactus beated them, so they have to flee here. Which is good, because obviously we're going to bring all these characters together for Doomsday and Secret Wars, so they kind of have to come to this universe. So that scene was actually directed by the Russo brothers on the set of Doomsday. So I think that this scene might be put in Doomsday. I'm not sure, but yeah. The funny thing is, if you actually paid attention to the credits, you will get spoiled of this post-credit scene. That happened to you. What happened? How did you get spoiled?
I saw the title. It said like Fantastic Four theme.
Yep. So they shouldn't have put the song credits in the because that kind of gave away the post-credit scene. You knew the Fantastic Four was going to show up. So, yeah. What do you think? What do you think of that post-credit scene then? Given it's a different director who made it.
It's good. It's like a surprise for other people.
And just like that, we've gone through the whole movie. So overall, your overall thoughts on the movie as a whole. And obviously, you can talk about spoilers now.
Go watch it. Good movie. 9 out of 10.
And I think this will be an important movie going into
Doomsday.
Sentry's going to come back for Doomsday. How do you think they're going to rework him so he doesn't turn evil and he can actually fight Doctor Doom?
I think he's still going to be OP.
They'll just keep him as the Sentry form, not as the Void. Yeah. Do you think he can beat Doctor Doom? Let's be real here.
I don't know.
Okay. I guess we'll have to find out. But, yeah. That is Thunderbolts. It's time to look at the Funko Pops and the theater merch. Luckily, we don't have a lot to look at this time, unlike the Minecraft movie. So this should be decently length, I want to say. So we have not gotten any Funko Pops for Minecraft movie, obviously, but we do have Funko Pops for this movie, which is fantastic. However, as you can see, it's not fully complete because we're missing 2 team members of the Thunderbolts, Ghost and Taskmaster. Those are not out yet. I think Funko wants to do exclusives for them, which will make sense. Ghost can probably be a glow-in-the-dark pop. It's possible for it to be that. And then Taskmaster, I honestly, why is she an exclusive Funko Pop? I don't know. But I have a feeling like Ghost is going to be like Amazon exclusive or something. And then Taskmaster is like Entertainment Earth exclusives. Well, the point is, Funko's holding those 2 characters back for, I guess, the exclusives. Because all we have right now are the commons. And the rest of the team is the commons. And Sentry is also a common. So honestly, I'm not too opposed to it, although it would be nice if we also had Ghost and Taskmaster present on this table right now. So, in the meantime, we will just have the common pops to review. So, Santos, which one are we looking at first?
Bucky.
All right, Bucky review.
He's just in this normal pose with his fist up. I don't know, 5 out of 10.
Why 5 out of 10?
He's just in a normal pose.
Okay, fair. Next,
Red Guardian.
the Red Guardian.
Also normal pose. He's doing this. I don't know, 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10 again. Bam. All right.
Yelena.
The main character. Yelena.
She's just like crossing her arms or something. 5 out of 10.
Yikes. I'm sensing a pattern here. 5 out of 10 for Yelena. And then luckily for John and Sentry, I have 2. I have them out of box as well, so.
His shield is kind of bent, but I think that's appropriate for the movie.
Yep, it's intentional.
Yeah.
and get a closer look at him.
They're all bobbleheads, right?
Yeah, they're all bobbleheads. It's in the agreement, I think.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. All right. Will Sentry also be a 5 out of 10? Let's find out.
He's actually in a cool pose, or kind of like floating.
Mm-hmm.
His suit is shiny, like in the movie.
Well, Funko kind of spoiled this because obviously the trailers didn't show his suits, didn't show Sentry in the suit, and then a few weeks later, Funko reveals their line of Funko Pops for this movie, and Sentry was the first one they showed. And everyone was like, "Okay, great, now we know what his suit looks like." So, what do you think?
Cool.
Cool.
6 out of 10.
Do you think they should do a Void Pop, like making like a glow in the dark exclusive or something?
Yeah.
Oh, they should have done. You know what they should have done? This is a missed opportunity. Void should have been a chase. This is the common, and the Void version is a chase. Oh, that's a missed opportunity, Funko. What y'all doing? So I guess we just have Sentry. We don't even have Bob. This is just Sentry. So the question is, what is the score for Sentry?
6 out of 10.
Yes, he's no longer a 5. 1 point bonus. You love to see it. Yeah, look at him. Very nice. Obviously, I reviewed these Funko Pops already. I made a video myself for the main channel, so go check that out if you want to see an integrated, detailed review of the Funko Pops. I don't know, I'm using big words. And now, it's time for theater merch. And one of them, you're very familiar with it because you helped me buy it. It is also the biggest popcorn bucket of the bunch. Obviously, as I mentioned in the beginning, we are missing one, which is the asterisk. That one is a combined, that one is a drink and a popcorn bucket. That will be in a future episode. It's still on its way. I don't know when I'm getting it, but we will have to review that in a later episode. For now, we have 2 popcorn buckets, 6 cups. So, the first bucket, Santos. I mean, why don't you explain this since you helped me get it?
This is a AMC exclusive of Red Guardian's limo.
Okay, so the timing was great because you were going to LA when the movie was releasing. So it was perfect timing for you to go get it from AMC. Obviously, we don't have AMCs up here, so it would have been very expensive to get this off an eBay guy. So luckily, it was just good timing. You were able to go to an actual AMC. Editor put up the photos he took. That's him at the AMC with the buckets. Now that it's back here in Canada, in the studio, on the table, review it.
So there's the Red Guardian in the front, and US's agent's arm with his shield. Yeah, it also says AMC
on this. Yeah. Also, this thing is made out of, it's tin. It's not plastic. This thing is high quality. It's quite durable too, except for one part.
And you could open the popcorn bucket here.
How much popcorn can it actually fit?
A decent amount.
Yeah. But when you look at this, you wouldn't think of this as a popcorn bucket at first. Like, it's cool that it also includes a Red Guardian figure inside. It's not detachable, I assume. It's stuck in there. Yeah. I don't think you should take it out anyways. What do you give it then?
9 out of 10.
But you'll give the popcorn that you ate
4 out of 10.
4 out of 10. Yeah, it was American popcorn's not our thing. Sorry guys. Sorry guys. But let me review this actually. I mean, the bullet holes are pretty good. Like, it's a good attention to detail. I like that. It's the intention of this isn't for it to be a perfectly good condition limo. It's getting shot up. I do like the Red Guardian figure inside. It's actually pretty funny. So overall, I'd give this limo bucket. What'd you give it again?
9.
9. I'll also give it a 9. Cause I actually like this. This is, well, pretty long. It didn't really. I'm surprised you actually managed to bring this back, given of how long this was. So good job. Yeah, storing this is going to be hard. So this is definitely something you want to put on display. I wouldn't recommend you eating popcorn out of this. This is a collector's piece, that's for sure. So that's the limo from AMC.
Helmet.
The Red Guardian. The bucket is part of it. The bucket is part of it.
Oh.
It's one set. The Red Guardian helmets. So that is the Red Guardian helmet popcorn bucket. Bless you. I got this from Landmark. This was the only popcorn bucket that we got in Canada. Just this. And it was not even at Cineplex. It was at Landmark. So, I mean, this one's been a fan favorite too. So, the idea is, there you go. You attach the helmets on the bucket, but give me the helmet. You can also wear this thing. This thing, if my head is much smaller, maybe I can actually have it cover my face, but my head is too big, so I can't really do it. You try.
It has these.
Our heads are too big for it.
It has these things on the.
Yeah, I mean, so it attaches on the bucket, but you show the bucket first because I think it's gonna cover the art, the painting on it.
So there's the Red Guardian.
Yep.
So much glare. And then there's his limousine logo.
Was it protecting you from boring evening?
Yeah.
And and then it has the Thunderbolts logo on the side, right there. Does it say Landmark on it at the bottom?
Nope. Just Marvel Studios Thunderbolts.
Okay, just that. All right, so the idea is now put the helmet on the bucket itself. We actually got it secured, or at least I got it secured. I had to just apply gentle pressure. Make sure the notches will align with the rim of the bucket, and it will snap on just well. And you get this as your phone. Don't shake it too violently. That's the final result. So, open the lid. You gotta show how you actually supposed to use this bucket. Yep, like that. Boom. So the idea is, it actually works like a trash can. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually works as a trash can too. So now we can give a proper review.
It looks good with the bucket on. Also, you can like rotate it if you don't want to have that in the front. Yeah. Yeah, it's securely on.
Do you think the feature is good?
Yeah.
I mean, it acts as a lid, right? So you don't spill popcorn everywhere, which is good. So out of 10, what'd you give it?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. All right. Very, very nice. I think I like the functionality of it, the dual functionality of it, having the ability to wear this on your head or put this on the bucket. Then again, I think what I just said about this working perfectly as like a trash can is good too. Like you can honestly like just pop open the lid, put your trash in, empty it out. It's obviously really small. You're not going to put a lot of trash in there, but you know, it's an alternate suggestion. That's what I'm saying. So, I like the gimmick of this though. This is really funny. I think this is up there with the Wolverine bucket. Yeah, it's a cool design. So, out of 10, I think I'll give it a solid 7. It does have a little bit of challenges that comes with it, such as securing this damn thing on the bucket. So that's points off there. But other than that, me gusta. I'm very happy with this Red Guardian bucket. But it's not as good as the limo, but it's still good. So how much was the limo? It was
72 plus popcorn.
Okay, 72 Canadian. This Red Guardian bucket is 44 Canadian with a large popcorn.
Yeah, this is like more intricate than that, so I probably think this is more expensive.
Yeah, so the limo's better, which is good. I guess both of these are Red Guardian themed. The asterisk bucket is obviously not. Is overall the entire team. So, as I would like to remind you, that will be in a future episode once it arrives. So if you don't want to miss out that episode, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. So when that episode comes out, you won't miss it when we do review the asterisk buckets. But for now, we can put these away now and move on to the final thing of this episode, which is, you can just put that on the floor. And move on to the final thing of this episode, which is, of course, the cups and the tapas that go with it. These cups are available at Cineplex. Unfortunately, I have 6 cups because you can't just buy the toppers by themselves. 1 cup per topper. So, in order to secure all 6 toppers, I had to get 6 cups, which is good because we can just attach them on the cups to show them off. So, firstly, let's show the people the cups, the design of this cup. What do you think?
It's like a cool design of all the characters on the front of the cup, and then the back of the cup. There's the logo, Thunderbolts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The background looks like it's concrete. Yeah.
Here's the list of all the names, the characters. Yes, Taskmaster is on it. And then the inside is gold or yellow. Pretty high quality. So, what do you think of it? Out of 10.
8 out of 10.
Good design. All right, so now let's line up these cups. All right, we'll do one topper at a time, and then we'll attach it onto the cups. So, what's the first topper?
Ghost.
So, first one here, Ghost. Also, yeah. All right. Here she is. The design of these toppers is a little different from the toppers you're used to seeing traditionally because these are made by a different company. Now, the traditional toppers you're used to, for Brave New World and all the other stuff, they actually look like molded figures. But these, they made them look more like bobbleheads, kind of like Funko Pops. Those like miniature figures. Like big head, small body. So they look a little more chibi like this time. Different company designed it, so I think it's a good change of pace. This Ghost is pretty good. I dig it. The helmet is actually, it's pretty basic. It's just a yin and yang symbol pretty much. But out of 10, I would give this Ghost... After you review it.
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. Look at it.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. Chibi.
No other comments on her?
No.
That's Ghost. What's next? Yelena?
Yeah.
Yelena. There she is. There we go. What do you think?
I think a little bit better than Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
The more intricate mold.
I mean, these are like chibi figures, so.
Also, all of them are quite hefty.
That's good. So what'd you give this?
8 out of 10.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. Pretty sure she's gonna be the one that sells out, considering she's the main character. Right. Next.
Taskmaster.
Ah, yes, my favorite Thunderbolt. I mean, give her some credit. The design of her suit does look pretty cool. It looks, I dig it way better than her Black Widow suit. So, take a look. Ooh, it comes with a little shield. I didn't see that. Look at that. Comes with a little shield as well. That is okay. It is pretty cool. Despite the little screen time she had, this is pretty cool. All right, what do you think?
No sword. I would like the hood to cover more of the helmet.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know, 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Nice. All right, 3 down, 3 to go.
Red Guardian.
The Red Guardian. I don't know about this one. Yeah, I don't know about this one, Chief. What do you think?
Where's his... Oh, that's his mouth. Yeah, it looks kind of weird. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't think that Funko bobblehead look works on him. Yeah. All right, 2 more to go. John Walker or Bucky? Bucky. Very nice, very nice. Why is he so thin? I mean, I get the idea. This is a chibi figure, but like, damn, his arms are so thin.
He's just like...
Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Yeah. Not really the best one. And last, but definitely not the least, we have John F. Walker. This one's got a shield. Big shield, too. Very nice. With a big head. What do you think?
Bigger shield than Taskmaster's. I don't know. Looks kind of weird. I'll give this 6 out of 10.
I think a 6 out of 10 is fair. Yeah, I don't know. That one looks kind of weird in my opinion as well. And there we go. That's the whole arsenal. All 6 cups and toppers available now at select Cineplex locations, because I've been to a couple to get these, and I've only been to one Cineplex that actually has the full set in stock. There's even a couple Cineplexes that don't even sell this at all. So it's very selective. But overall, what do you rank it from best to worst?
I don't know, whatever I gave them, the numbers.
So my order would be Ghost, Yelena, Taskmaster, Bucky, John Walker, and Red Guardian. Yeah, I'm not really digging that Red Guardian. That's how I'd rank it. I wish Taskmaster looks cool despite her very limited screen time, but she looks cool. Like I like the suit. I dig it. So overall, this compared to some of the previous toppers we've reviewed, what do you think of this?
It's okay.
You think this like chibi version is better than those standard figures?
Yeah, add some variety.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, there's 6 of them to collect, obviously. So 1 cup, 1 topper. You can't just buy the topper separately. So I think that's good. We got a pretty cool setup like this. You're looking at about $12.99 for a cup and topper. This is a little bit on the pricey side, but that's because you got to get the full set, not just the topper itself. I think it used to just be like $5, I think, but yeah, now it's which I think is fair. It's fair because like you're gonna have unproportionate toppers and cups in like quantities. So overall, what do you give this topper set?
6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. That is it. We're gonna wrap it up here. Obviously, the asterisk popcorn bucket will come later in a future episode. Subscribe so you won't miss the episode when it does come out, and let us know what you think of Thunderbolts. Let us know what you think of this new MCU movie, which I think has been highly praised. Very nice, and the theater merch is quite solid too, I must say. So thanks for watching. Give this video a like, and Santos, finish off the outro.
Good movie.
See you in the next one.
I agree.